Zohran Mamdani is the latest and the youngest now to challenge Mayor Eric Adams.
I know that the job of government is to actually make our lives better. And that is why I stand before you as a candidate for New York City mayor. Make no mistake, this will be a fight. On the verge of a victory that will resonate across the country and the world.
Zohran Mamdani, the new mayor who has changed the history of New York. He said, "We will bring corrupt owners to justice because people like Donald Trump have been oppressing us in this city for far too long.
City is your city, and this democracy is yours too.
We will break and shatter that vicious cycle of corruption where billionaires evade taxes, cheat the law, and enjoy every privilege." He has spoken of standing by the workers. He said this New York, the city of immigrants, who has introduced himself as a Muslim.
I am Muslim. I am a democratic socialist. And most damning of all, I refuse to apologize for any of this.
Donald Trump used no harsh word or sentence to humiliate Mamdani that he hadn't used before. Yet to stop Mamdani's victory, despite being behind in public support, he abandoned his own party's mayoral candidate, Curtis Sliwa, and endorsed Andrew Cuomo, the independent mayoral candidate from the Democratic Party. In a city of nearly 9 million people, Mamdani stood alone on December 10, 2024, on the streets of New York City, holding placards and banners, standing in an unfamiliar, promising, and hopeful place by comparison. He introduced himself as the Democratic candidate for mayor. Yet to ordinary New Yorkers, he asked about their daily problems, what kind of mayor they want, and what their expectations are from politics. So much has come with Mamdani's victory that it has shattered many myths about the future of U.S. politics. His win sends a message for the political agenda of immigrants and Muslims in the United States in the coming days against anti-immigration, racism, and the rigid nationalist politics of white supremacy. A message of understanding political and economic rights as human beings. In U.S. politics, where there is strong influence from the Jewish lobby, fear of communism and anti-Muslim sentiment right in the heart of the country, New York, an immigrant, Muslim, socialist, and anti-Zionist identity has been proudly embraced and achieved victory, largely demolishing long-standing political myths. This progressive politician has established the political rights of Muslims and immigrants in the United States on a strong foundation. And this victory reminds us of the Occupy Wall Street movement that began on September 17, 2011, from Zuccotti Park in Manhattan, New York City. Progressives led this movement. They fought against economic and social inequality, corporate exploitation, and the influence of money in politics. The movement's slogan was, "We are the 99%. During a time of intense anti-immigration stance by conservatives under Trump's leadership, Mamdani, an immigrant politician, proudly carried his Muslim identity, even where anti-Muslim sentiment led to unrest. In a country where the fear of socialism's ghost haunts politics, he openly declared himself a socialist. You can understand that Mamdani's path to this victory was not easy. How did he cross this fiery path? New York, the financial, political, and media center of the United States, controls perspectives and the economy from here, and determines the course of global economics. In this city of the ultra-wealthy and the imaginative's monopoly dominance, the trajectory of U.S. politics is set. Influential media outlets like Fox News, CNN, NBC, CBS, and The Wall Street Journal are based in this city, spreading America's political and social narrative, not just across the entire United States, but the whole world. Starting his journey from Kampala, Uganda, at just 7 years old, Mamdani overcame all obstacles to sit on New York's throne. But how did he do it? From the election campaign to every field, Mamdani was ignored and victimized by bias in these established media outlets. But the media portrayed him as the global spokesperson for the Palestinian Intifada movement. There was also propaganda throughout that Mamdani was a threat to U.S. political, economic, and social values. The opposition came from the powerful Jewish lobby because he had declared that if elected mayor, he would have Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu arrested on charges of genocide in Gaza if he came to New York. There was also fierce opposition from conservative political groups. Even within his own Democratic Party, there was opposition to Mamdani. Influential Democratic leaders like Hillary Clinton were against him. The media campaign for Mamdani's closest rival, Cuomo, was monopolistic. In U.S. election politics, from powerful fundraising organizations like super PACs to exclusive support from billionaires like Elon Musk, all were on Cuomo's side. Before the vote, Elon Musk urged New Yorkers to vote for Cuomo. On the other hand, from conservative, religious, political, and social groups to the support of the U.S. president, all were for Cuomo. Commenting on Mamdani's victory, American researcher Hussein Ibish said, "He is such a candidate who is challenging the established system from many angles. In such a situation where someone is challenging the conventional system from multiple directions, what else could Mamdani have done?" When mainstream media ignored Mamdani and ran negative campaigns against him, few people with anti-Muslim hatred can be found who don't use any social media platform. From Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube onward, Mamdani left no minimal flaw in his efforts to reach ordinary voters on these platforms. His campaign style, way of speaking, identifying people's problems, and explaining solutions in simple language, everything was striking, reaching millions of people. It reached the people, caught the attention of the youth, and won their hearts. Mamdani did. He didn't limit his campaign to social media alone. He went door to door to voters, and thousands of volunteers worked for him. After the Democratic primary win in the mayoral candidate selection, in a speech given at midnight on June 24, Zohran Mamdani said, "This is not just my victory. This is everyone's. This is the victory of that 18-year-old young woman who cast her first vote in life." From the start of the election campaign, Zohran Mamdani identified the people's hardships and problems that had been ongoing for decades. New York, the most expensive city in the United States, where people struggled to meet daily needs while just 1% lived in luxury. Right from the beginning of the campaign, he drew people's attention to this inequality. He announced that if elected, he would stop the rise in housing rents. For working women, one of the main supports for child rearing is childcare, where families have to pay $22,000 to $25,000 per year. Mamdani promised in his election manifesto to make childcare free. On the other hand, he promised to make public transportation, the lifeline for ordinary people's commuting, free. These promises easily caught the attention of the common people. He gave the promises, one with innovative campaigning, and the election.
Rent-free, free buses, universal childcare और सस्ती groceries के जरिए.
But how will Mamdani fulfill these promises? The amount of money needed for this, where will he get it from? Trump had already said he wouldn't be able to give much money. Criticism of his such ambitious promises began in the legislature, but Mamdani has thought through what needs to be done. The funding will mainly come from those wealthy individuals who have evaded taxes all this time. Additional tax on their income. With this extra tax, he will make ordinary people's lives easier. The majority on one side, the ordinary people, the common masses, who are victims of capitalist economic exploitation, whose lives pass by barely meeting daily needs. In the opposing camp are those wealthy individuals who have controlled ordinary people's lives politically and economically until now. He has snatched power from the hands of that powerful wealthy class. Fulfilling such a responsibility in New York City will spread across the United States. The question is what Donald Trump himself said. Can he really become the president of the United States in 4 years? The beliefs of evangelical Christians and the founding of the United States are intertwined. At the same time, leading capitalism against socialism and the credit for producing Islamophobia are tied to the name of the United States. In that country, the victory of a Muslim immigrant identity-bearing declared socialist signals a new stakeholder in U.S. politics and economy. In the future, anti-immigration politics will decrease significantly in U.S. politics. It will run dry. On the other hand, the political rights of Muslims, Black and Hispanic people will gain a strong foundation. They will emerge as new influencers in U.S. politics. This message is clear. If Zohran Mamdani had run his election campaign and asked for votes without claiming to be a Muslim immigrant and socialist, he would have won. This answer would not be wrong if said directly no. Rather, he has proven that the importance of human rights is greater above the politics of such identities. Be it conservative or progressive, be it a Muslim immigrant or someone from a minority community, only the time for identity-based politics built on ideals is running out. Remember, the New York mayoral election was not just the victory of a Muslim immigrant socialist Mamdani. It was the victory of the politics of human rights. What's your opinion? Let us know in the comments.